profiles. So that's maybe an extreme example, but it happens. And a lot of people have way too many because of that, that sort of handling exceptions that way. All right, so the way, it works with a profile is if the, user needs a new permission, oftentimes people will duplicate that profile, and then they've got that one-to-one relationship between a user and a profile. Now, the other alternative is you could change the security setting on the profile, but then, of course, you're providing that change to everyone. So that is why Salesforce came up with permission sets, right? So what are permission sets? They're kind of like sparse profiles, right? They control a lot of those, they can modify a lot of those security settings that we saw on the profile page, things like field permissions or object permissions, but they're not a replacement for profiles. They don't contain other things that profiles do, like login hours or layout assignments and other things. So they let you modify the security of a profile, but they can't replace a profile. So now every base user has a profile. That user has an exception or a privilege that they need that's different than the profile that can be granted via permission sets. So what's wrong with permission sets? Well, they're mainly good for those exceptions that we're talking about, right? They can't replace a profile, and they can require lots of user assignments. So what that means is, you start having lots of users, lots of exceptions, and then suddenly you have a very complex web of these, permission set assignments that are very hard to remember, understand, and assign out. So Salesforce just recently released a solution to that, or something to help simplify that, which is permission set groups. So now every user has a profile. Permission set can be granted to that user to handle an exception, and permission sets can be organized into a group so they can be assigned en masse rather than piece by piece. So these permission set groups really do help with that situation. And people organize them by departments or by maybe security needs. So there's lots of ways that you can organize them into groups, but it helps simplify those assignments of permission sets. So now that takes us to what Salesforce really wants, where they want you to be for an assignment. So we have Bob here, who's assigned a marketing profile. He's also part of the advertising team, so he's assigned a permission set group of permissions that handle separate permissions for advertising. And then there's still non-grouped needs for permission sets, because maybe Bob has a one-off permission that really only makes sense for Bob. So there's a one-to-one assignment there with the permission set. So if we look at this dialogue, this is kind of the goal of where Salesforce wants you to be with your security model. But of course, the hard part. I'm sorry, was there a question? Oh, I think somebody's off mute there. Please mute if you can.
Sorry, I will mute everyone. One second.
Thank you. Okay, so anyway, this is where Salesforce wants you to be, right? But getting there can be really tough. If you have an old org where the security model is very complex and sort of convoluted, maybe the security model was built before the days of permission sets or permission set groups. Getting to this sort of clarity here can be tough. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before we do, I want to make one quick mention of something else new that Salesforce has thrown in here. It doesn't really change our discussion about how you put your security model together, but I think it's important to mention, and that is a minimum access profile. There's now something called a minimum access profile that came out in the last release, and it is literally a least access profile that can be assigned to a user. It just includes those 4 things that you see there, and then those 4 things can be modified via permission sets or permission set groups. So it's a way that you could assign the minimum possible security to a user and then modify it with permission sets. So there's a lot of different reasons why you might want to do that. But if that need occurs where you don't have a user that you want to have the minimum access available in the org and just maybe selectively do things with permission sets, that's really a great place to start. So that clarity picture we had, how do we get there? Well, one thing you could do is start over from scratch. Now that might be impossible. I worked with a customer that had an org that was 12 years old, and they had 1,000 users, and they had 642 profiles. and it was just insanity. But they are also a very large organization, so they couldn't really throw everything out and then start over, right? So one thing you want to do is adopt this methodology, adopt where Salesforce is, wants people to go in terms of their security model, understand sort of the corporate structure of how your users need to have their access. Obviously, moving permissions out of profiles and into permission sets so that you don't have too many profiles, and also gradually transitioning to permission set groups to simplify your ability to understand those assignments and to assign them out. So merging similar profiles. So the idea here is that you take profiles that are similar, very close to each other in terms of the security settings. You merge them down to a base profile and fill any gaps that you need to with permission sets, right? Of course, as we said before, the problem there is that you can get into a very complex web of permission set assignments. So organizing those logically when it makes sense into groups can really simplify those assignments, help you understand what the permission sets are designed for, and also being able to assign a lot of permission sets in one shot rather than having to do it piece by piece by piece. Everybody knows about the clicks and clicks that we can do inside a setup. So that brings me to our tool, Snapshot. Want to talk just a little bit today. We have what I believe is the most comprehensive set of tools for managing profiles and permission sets, as well as for doing org cleanup and optimization. But we actually do quite a bit more. That's what we're going to focus on today and show you guys some of those tools. But that's actually not all that we do. Our tool is a complete lifecycle org management tool for admins or developers. And it really covers a lot of the bases that you need to document the structure of your org, to get your security model put into shape, to get rid of technical debt. And then once your org's running well, we also provide clicks not code, full featured release management, and data migration for moving data as well as metadata. And that all comes together in one sort of clicks not code UI that's called Snapshot. And that's what we're actually going to share with everybody today. So let me just stop and restart my share so I can share Snapshot here. All right. Okay, so this is our Snapshot tool that I'm running. It's a desktop application and it's a managed package. The managed package handles all of that collaboration and sharing and permissioning and licensing. And then our desktop app, which runs on Windows or Mac, does all the work. And it's very secure. It talks directly to our managed package that's installed in your org and directly to your Salesforce orgs to do all the work. That means that we never touch your data, your metadata, or your credentials. So it's a very secure solution. And what we're looking at here is sort of a layout of someone's Salesforce implementation. These blue icons are connections to Salesforce orgs. These green icons are connections to code repos. So if you are, we don't force you to use repos at all, but if you are working with developers or putting code into repos, you can connect and push and pull that stuff. And then connecting everything up are what we call deploy arrows. So this is a little more of a complex implementation. So let's jump over and start with a more simple view. So let me switch over to a different workspace here. All right, so here we have a real simple layout. We got a sandbox, a staging org, and a production org. 3 Salesforce orgs connected up together so you can move things between them, but you can also work with them. And this whole workspace, the whole way that you interact with this stuff is all done with drag and drop. So I could grab a blue icon here and drag it on, and it's going to say, hey, what Salesforce org are we going to connect to? We're using your Salesforce authentication, and you could connect to any kind of org, production org, sandbox, developer, DX. If you're using OAuth or custom domains, that's fine. Then you can either do a full backup or you could go in and select what metadata you want to back up. And those backups, that grabbing of the metadata, is really the fundamental step to manage your profiles and permission sets, to do cleanup, or to do releases, to do release management. So we offer both that, partial or full backup. The full backup's really simple. You log into the org, you go over to the next tab, and you click take a backup. And it doesn't matter how big your org is, it'll take multiple retrieves and stitch it all together into one cohesive backup. So if we have about 60 of the Fortune 500 as customers. So we've seen some I guess you would call them gargantuan orgs, and we can back up that metadata fine. And those can be scheduled as well. So I could have it backing up my org every day, week, month, whatever makes sense. So once we've got a backup of the org, we can now start doing a lot of that work to understand our org and to clean it up. So I'm just going to do that. Our whole tool works off 2 right clicks. If you right click on an org, you get all of the, you can take backups, you can look at changes over time, but we also organize into these categories the tools for working with your org. You could visualize your org, document your org, clean it up and optimize it, or manage the security model. And then the other right click is on the arrow. This is where you could deploy metadata, do rollbacks, or deploy data, for example, or do comparisons between orgs. So today we're really going to focus on not the release management stuff, but the profile permission set stuff and the org cleanup stuff. So we're going to right click on this org here, and we're going to start off by going to visualize for this org, and we're going to look at the profiles. So one of the really hard things to do in Salesforce is just to document or understand the structure of your profiles or your permission sets. So the way that we address that is we put it into a matrix. So if you look here, going down the left-hand column are all of my profiles in the org. And going across the top is, in this case, my object permissions. Let me move this little zoom thing there. But I could look at any part of the profile here. I could jump to, tab visibility or field permissions or anything else that I wanted to see. And so from here, I can very quickly track down the security setting for any particular asset in Salesforce. So for example, I'm looking at this contract manager profile here. I can see for the account that profile has create, delete, edit, read. So very quickly track down the security. With a right click, I can export this out to document it for reference or for compliance as a CSV, PDF, Excel, all the formats you'd expect. But we also add a bunch of other cool features in here. So one is the ability to trim the table. So maybe I really only want to compare these 3 profiles together. So now I've trimmed the profiles down to just show those 3 profiles versus the security. But we also do editing inside this matrix. So we allow you to edit things on the fly in the matrix with a couple of clicks, which might be tens or hundreds or more clicks inside of Salesforce itself. So for example, I've got this account custom settings custom object here, and you can see these profiles have no access to it. So if I go to my editing palette here, I could actually come in, select what I want to make changes to. So I could do all these at once. Maybe I also want to go ahead and grant access to the account contact role and the account team member for this one profile. I could set my settings that I want to make the changes to and apply it and make those changes to the profile on the fly. So doing changes within the matrix to make changes to the security model rather than lots and lots of clicks and jumping around in Salesforce. So really a productivity time saver there. And we do the exact same thing, all this stuff we just saw for permission sets as well. Same idea. Permission sets down the left-hand column, security across the top, all the parts of the security available here. We can document it, trim it, edit it, and so forth. So that's sort of step 1 with the tool, is understanding how things are structured, documenting them, and when you need to make edits, giving you sort of a quick and powerful way to do that. So let's look at a few other things here. So we're going to jump down to this security section here, and we're going to look at our profile and permission set report. This is the first part of this is what we just saw. Right now I'm looking at the object permissions versus my profiles here. And I could jump to anything else, tab visibility, user permissions, whatever. Same for permission sets. But where this gets interesting is the combined security down here at the bottom. What this does is it lets me select any set of users in my org and then see how they got to any security setting by walking you through the profile and the permission sets assigned to them. So this is great for, tracking down why is someone able to delete accounts when they shouldn't be able to, or why can this user access this and this user can't? These kind of things we can do really quickly here. So just to show you an example, I could select any security that I want to look at the combined security, but we're going to keep it simple just to kind of show you how it works. We're going to stick with just the object permissions here, and I'm going to jump over to display this report. So I'm looking at the object permissions for one user, Bill Appleton. Now I could select users here and add as many as I want to the list. I could search for them by profile or role or whatever, and add as many of my users as I want to the report. But right now we're just looking at Bill to keep it simple. So right now we can see Bill's security. So for example, for the account, Bill has create, delete, edit, read, view, full CRUD permissions for the account, right? But it's highlighted in green. That means there's some important information there. In our case, that means that security has been elevated from the profile. So if I want to see how that's done, I just click this detailed report here and we walk you through it. The top line is the profile. What comes after are the permission sets, and the final line, combined security, is what the ultimate security for that user is for that setting or for that object. So here we see that Bill's assigned the standard user profile, which gives him only read and view to the account object. But then we got this permission set that assigned him read, this permission set that assigned create and read, this permission set that assigned delete, edit, and read. So the ultimate final security for Bill is create, delete, edit, read, view, full permissions. So tracking this stuff down is, for those of you that have done it in Salesforce, is complex. It's hard. You're jumping around. You're trying to look at the profile and then look at the permission set and jump back and forth, and which permission sets are assigned to that user. It's complex. So we kind of pull it all together in a really concise way. And again, you can trim these tables. So if I just needed to see this for the account object, maybe I don't care about all the other objects here. And as with all of our reports, a right click will export the information out, and they can all be scheduled. So I could have these reports, any report that we have, run on a schedule and then delivered to my team, posted to Chatter, dropped in a folder in content. So really lots of different ways to kind of have it automated and delivered to you as well. Okay, so those were some pretty cool things. The next I want to show you my favorite part of managing profiles and permission sets with our tool, and that is our user permission assignments dialog. Excuse me. So if I open this up, what this does is it simplifies the process of assigning users, it simplifies creating permission set groups, it simplifies merging profiles, it does a lot of different stuff. So right now, I could come in and select any set of users that I want to see. So I've got these users here, but I could search by role, by profile, by whatever. And then I could click on any user, and here I could see the profile that's assigned to them, what permission sets are assigned to them, and if they're permission set groups, what permission set groups are assigned to them. And I can edit this on the fly here. So if I wanted to, add this permission set for this user, I could do it, click save, and now that's been written back to Salesforce in real time. But what's cool about this is you can also flip this on its head so that you could look at it from any particular angle. So maybe I want to look at this by permission set, right? So maybe I want to see who's got account read write permission set. When I click on it, I can see these two users from my list are assigned that permission set. I could click here and redo those assignments if I wanted. So I could look at it by profile, by permission set group, by permission set. I can sort of flip it to analyze things from any angle and then redo the assignments en masse too if I need to. All right, so let's go to the next tab over. This is for creating permission set groups. So we talked about a lot of people have permission sets. Now we've got this cool thing, permission set groups. Creating the groups and making sure that all the right users are reassigned to the group and all that kind of stuff, again, is complex depending on your org and is a lot of clicks inside of Salesforce. So I could come in here and say, for example, okay, it makes sense for, these two contract manager pieces to all be put into a group, right? So I could come in here and calculate assignments. There are no users assigned to that. Let's find something else here. Let's say we're putting all of these permission sets into a group. No users assigned to it. Sorry, this is my demo org. This is what I do all the time. All right, there we go. Well, anyway, it'll calculate what users are assigned to whatever permission sets that you select so that you've got your whole list of users here. Then you can give the group a name, a label, description, and with one click, it'll create the group, assign the users to it, and group all those permission sets into that group. So this is just a quick way to build groups once you're starting to move towards that level of organization with your security model. This next tab is probably my favorite tab on here because it solves that problem that we talked a lot about during the PowerPoint, and that is that a lot of organizations have too many profiles. We actually had this problem. It's part of why we built this tool. We have an org that was started in 2006. So in the Salesforce world, we're like the old grandpas. We were at Dreamforce in 2006. It was much different. But anyway, so we were guilty of that thing, because really back then there was no choice. Every time someone needed a different setting, they got it their own profile. So you end up with way too many profiles. And in a large organization, much bigger than us, that can really be a problem of scale. So what this does is it lets me find which, lets me take similar profiles and merge them. So I haven't shown it to you, but I'll show it to you after this dialogue. We actually also have a tool that will show you how similar things are in Salesforce. It's made for anything. I could see how similar two objects are, or two Apex classes, but it also works for profiles. So that's a good place to start. If you don't know how similar some of your profiles are, you can run that report and analyze it. So then once you're ready to start, merging similar profiles. So for example, we have all these contract manager profiles. So let's say that I'm going to take these 4 profiles and merge them into one base profile. I'm going to go ahead and calculate it. And what it's going to do, it's going to say, if we merge this into one base profile, what permission sets need to be created to fill the gaps for security? So in other words, we're going to move to one profile and just create the necessary permission sets that are needed to maintain the security that we currently have. So what it's telling me here is, if I merge these to one base profile, it's going to need to create these 4 permission sets, right? And then I could come over here and give it a name. Probably wouldn't be test in the real world. I can decide whether or not I want to delete out the old profiles, go ahead and do the cleanup, or maybe leave them if I want to have a disaster recovery plan there. Give it a description, and when I click merge profiles here, it's going to create that base profile, automatically create the necessary permission sets, and assign all of the users that were on those other profiles to that new base profile, and per user as needed to the permission set. So this is a really powerful way to work that problem of merging similar profiles. And I can tell you, in a complex org, doing this manually is, I don't know, you could argue it's impossible. It can be done, yes, of course, but it's very complex. So anyway, love that part of the tool there as well. And then after that, we just have bunches of cool reports you could run, like show me all the users assigned to which permission set groups, or show me how all my, what users are assigned to what permission sets, those kind of reports that you can just come in here and run and have those for administrator reference, for example. Okay, so lastly, talking about profiles and permission sets, then we're going to move on to org cleanup, is that we're going to take a look at how we can compare profiles across orgs. So here, if I right click, remember all the cross org actions are on the right click on the arrow, I can go here and compare profiles. And this is actually going to compare from org A on the left to org B on the right. How are the profiles and permission sets, how do they compare? Again, we go back to that same matrix approach where, we're looking at things in a matrix, except I've got the source org on the left, the destination org on the right, and this is a synchronous scroll. So I could come in here now. We also color code things here. Green is new metadata, new profiles. So the source org has lots and lots of profiles that have not come over to the destination. And then anytime there's a profile in both, like this contract manager 2 profile here, if there's a difference in security, we mark that in red. So you can see full CRUD permissions to the account in this org, but for that profile in the destination org, it's just got create, delete, edit, read. So this lets you quickly track down differences. Again, you could trim the table. You can also put it in a single table view, which puts the source security for each, in this case, object. Of course, we could look at anything side by side. This is a nice view for a security analyst, or to export out for reference or something like that as well with a right click. So anyway, to sum it up, we give you a lot of great tools for documenting and understanding your security model, for actually making mass edits to it, understanding security by user, merging similar profiles, creating permission set groups, redoing all your assignments. So really just a very comprehensive suite for helping you get that security model in shape, and also, of course, maintaining it and keeping it there as you grow. Okay, so that was the profiles and permission sets. We're going to take just a few more minutes here and talk a little bit about our org cleanup and optimization tools that we also give you. We didn't do a PowerPoint on this because it's pretty straightforward. You've got technical debt in your org that you need to get rid of, right? So if you've got unused metadata, maybe it's email templates or fields or groups or flows or queues or whatever, we give you tools to analyze that, to understand it, to see how it's structured, and then to actually clean it up. So let's right-click on the org again, and this time we're gonna go to document. Now, there's a lot of cool reports here. You can look at the names of them and pretty much figure out what they do. But we're gonna start with a data dictionary. We have a very comprehensive data dictionary that will document, well, a lot of people know what a data dictionary is. It's your objects, your fields, what their properties are. Lots of administrators build this with cut and paste in Excel. So we try to make that a much easier proposition. So over here, we can select what objects we want to run it for. We'll keep it simple today and just say the account object. And then in the middle are all the different things we can add to the report. And then over on the right are the things that we want to be in it. So one thing that we could do is summary statistics. So maybe I want to, count how many of Apex classes I have, when they were modified, created, that kind of stuff, right? I could also document their names, but I don't want to scroll through hundreds and hundreds of things. So I can add that over here to my report. We also do org limits in our data dictionary. So you can see I add a couple things by default here, like how many API requests we're at, where's our data storage at. But we have every limit that's documentable in Salesforce that you could add to the report here. We also do package licenses and org licenses. So package licenses are stuff like, our Snapshot tool. Any of your packages, what do your licenses look like for that? So I'll just add Snapshot here. And then, of course, org, all of our Salesforce licenses. Maybe I want to, see all my Salesforce licenses in the report here. Then we get into really the meat of the report. That is the object and field properties. This is where we could add any of the object properties, and for this case, for the account, we're just running it for account, or the field field properties or relationships. So let's look at field properties here. So I'm going to add, by default here, a lot of the common things that I'd want to see, like description, help text, formulas, names, labels, but anything's here, including, if you're using Shield, your encryption types, everything, every property is available here to add to the report. And also, we can add relationships. This is pretty cool. So maybe I want to see for each field what Apex classes, or, I don't know, let's go down here, what reports each of those fields are, what report types, whatever. I could go select any other asset in Salesforce, and if that field is referenced in that metadata asset, it'll document it in the report. So this is actually looking at the relationships of those fields as well. So let's actually go run this in real time for the account object here. So it's pretty fast. So here we have all those summary statistics we saw. How many Apex classes, components, pages. Again, I could have listed the names, but I didn't want to scroll it. So I'm going to scroll past that. And then we get to our org limits. What by percentage and numbers, where are we on our requests and storage and those kind of things. This is a small dev org here I'm demoing with. Our org licenses, here's what all our licenses look like for Salesforce. Our package licenses, there's our, how many, we have lots of licenses for Snapshot because we own it. And then our object properties, and then here's the real meat of it, right? The field properties. Here's, the pick list values, if there's pick list values for the field, descriptions, help text. I have a pretty poorly documented org. Hopefully yours is better. Actual formulas in the fields, last modified, all that kind of stuff can be included. So I have a real strong reference here of how everything's laid out, and then those relationships. So right now it's going through for each field, any report types, or I think I also selected Apex classes that, or that they're referenced in. So it's actually showing me those relationships as well. So again, a really great way to do a data dictionary of your org without countless hours of cut and paste in Excel. All right, so let's show some of the other cleanup tools here, and then we'll wrap things up. So if I right click here, we also have a bunch of great optimization reports. Now that we document, we understand the structure of our org. So one of those things would be field usage. I bet you guys have used Field Trip before. We're kind of like Field Trip on steroids with this report. We tell you, let's go pick something like, I don't know, let's try an account object, that'll be fine. We document, of course, the same thing that you have in field trip, which is which fields have no data. So that's the obvious field cleanup. So what it's doing now is it's crunching through every field on the account object, and it's going to give me this report. I'm going to actually stop it where it is so we don't have to wait for it all. So of course it tells me I can sort it by all these different things, but which fields are empty, which have ever had data put in them, which haven't. But we also tell you default data. So default data is a really interesting stat. That means that what percentage or what number of the records have just the default value for that field in there. That could be just as important as a field that's never had data put in it. Because maybe you have a default value on a field, and if it's at 100% of that default value, you may want to go look at that field because maybe no one's ever changing it to anything meaningful. It's just going to the default every time. So it may be a useless field to you as well that you want to blow away. But we can also get drill down. So if I click on billing country code here, it'll also give me all the metrics. It's breaking it down by the number of records. So this is kind of interesting. For this billing country code record, it shows me how many, we have 28 distinct values. 805 of them are blank. We've got no data in there. And then the rest of them break down by number, as you can see here. So doing marketing type analysis with this as well is really useful because we give you all that drill down as well with the fields. So full field usage. By the way, you can also, with one click, export your list of fields that have no data in them, that have never had data entered for them, and then use our release tools to run a delete job and delete them out. And because we take a backup before we do this, you've got rollback. So we actually give you the tools to actually make these changes, not just to understand them. All right, so let's talk a couple more things. I'm gonna cover really one more report here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And that's our forgotten asset. Yes.
Sorry, we have 2 questions on what you were just showing.
Okay.
Someone asked if you could export those reports.
Yes, every report, you just right-click it, and you can export as a CSV, a PDF, an HTML, or an Excel file. So yeah, every matrix, every report, any delivery of information that you see in Snapshot can be exported.
And then the next question was, is there a limit in data it processes? Let's say no more than 200 fields for object?
Yeah, you can. When I went to the first part of that report, actually, I'll jump back there and show it to you. The first thing I do is build a filter. So I just said select all because it's a small org. But obviously, if you're in a gigantic org, maybe you don't want to see all that information. So you can build a filter. It's just like a report in Salesforce. Show me accounts where, I don't know, the account, billing city equals, Nashville. And then you're just going to get the accounts in Nashville. So you can filter this down very granularly, just like you can with a Salesforce report, so that you're then running it on just the specific set of records that you want.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep, thank you. All right, cool. So wanted to show this one here. This is our forgotten assets report. This is like Salesforce Optimizer, but on steroids. First of all, there's no limit. First of all, it works all the time. Sorry, that was mean. But there's no limit to it. So it doesn't just do 50 records and then you got to look at the next 50 or whatever. You can run it on as many records of any type of metadata that you want. Also, it's not limited to just the metadata types you find in Optimizer. We literally built a custom algorithm for every single type of metadata that exists in Salesforce. And then we modified that algorithm to tell you what's not being used based on the type. Because, why an email template's not being used may be a totally different, formula than why a field's not being used or something else. So let's take a look at it. So the way Forgotten Assets works is I could go in and select any metadata types or multiple ones to add to my report, and it will analyze it and tell me what's not being used. So let's find something that makes sense. Email templates. So it's crunching my email templates right now. And here we have right at the top in red, the email templates that we're pretty sure are not being used. And how do we know that? If I scroll over here, I can see that these email templates are not referenced by anything else in Salesforce, whereas these here in green are referenced by workflows or portals or Apex classes or whatever it is. So that right there is a very good indicator that these email templates are dead weight. Now, of course, if I look at the last modified, like let's look at this one here, last modified 2013, not connected to anything else in Salesforce, yeah, that's probably dead weight. And so you could export this list right here, take it out so that you could use it as a job list to do things. But again, I could also create a job list from it and then take it over to our deployment tools, run a quick delete, and knock these things out. So this will work for any metadata type: flows, groups, queues, roles, reports. It doesn't matter. You can see the whole list is here of all the metadata that can exist in the org, and we'll analyze all of it and tell you what's not being used. So really just a power technical debt cleanup tool as well. So lots more to see than what I showed, especially on the optimization side, but hopefully what we did was give everybody a pretty nice flavor of that stuff. So I'm just gonna share really quick my presentation to show you our contact slide. So if anybody would like a demo, there's all the ways you can contact us. Let me take that up so you can see it better. Of course, there we go. So all the ways you can contact us to set up a demo. We have a 14-day trial. You can find us if you search Snapshot or Metazoa on the App Exchange. And you can also follow us, our Twitter there, @Metazoa. We're doing a whole big series of webinars where we cover different topics like org cleanup and optimization. And we just launched a whole new user management tool that helps you remap inactive users, fix a lot of those problems. So I think our next webinar is on that. But if you follow us at Metazoa, we have all the links where you can sign up and all that jazz. Okay, so I hope that was useful to everybody. I hope everybody got a look at that. Also, just a quick note, we do have some giveaways that we brought today. I think everyone saw the link in the chat to sign up for the giveaways. We're giving away, someone help me. We're giving away a selfie light ring, which, like, if you're doing these webinars or whatever, it's a light that you can put on you to make you look nice and glowy when you're doing your, everybody's doing their Zoom or whatever. We're also giving away Echo, Amazon Echo Shows, I think, or Echo something. Someone will help me out here.
Yes, the
Anyway,
Echo 5.
Thank you. Thank you. She's always got my back. Yeah, so we're giving that stuff away with the giveaway. We got a number of them to give away. So go ahead and sign up for that. We'd love to give you some goodies. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate your time.
Tom, I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
Someone is asking if you could demo later on the use case, figure out if the specific field is populated via WF process builder or flows.
Yeah. So I think we do have a way to do that. Let me just real quick, if you just jump back to my screen real quick, just reach out, or you can reach out to me directly if you want. I'm Tom at Metazoa. I got lucky to be the only Tom so far. So I'm Tom at metazoa.com. So if you reach out to me, shoot me an email. I can set up a quick session for you. We can dive in and look at your use case and show it to you. So we'll definitely cover it. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for the demo. It was great information.
Thank you.
I can share the screen of the winners. Can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we congratulate all the winners. You can have those awesome gifts. Thank you, Metazoa, for doing this raffle draw. Really exciting for the members. So our next presenter is Jean. Jean is my colleague, my mentor. Jean, take it over.
All right, thanks, Sheba. I am not the eloquent speaker that Tom is, so bear with me as I get this going. I am Jean. Hold on. Can't do both at the same time. Here we go. Okay. Hi, my name is Jean Muller, and I'm going to walk you through how to build your personal Salesforce portfolio. This is actually a Trailhead project that I did, and it was really very easy. You build them on community pages. And Sheba asked me to just share my experience as to why I built it and some thoughts behind it. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to show you mine. And then if we have time at the end, I'll actually go out to Trailhead and do the first step for you and just show you how to get started with communities. Because if you've never done it before, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But honestly, the project in Trailhead walks you through it because it was the first time I had ever done it. And it's really good. So here we go. A little bit about me. I am 2 times certified. I have my admin and my service cloud. I might be 3rd time by this time tomorrow night, don't know. I have 2+ Ranger on the Trailhead badges. I've got 2 super badges. I'm a community event volunteer. I love to, last year I went to a lot of the Dreamin' events, and I went to career fairs, and just everywhere I went, I always asked if there was anything I could do to help. And one of the reasons I did that is because I'm very awkward in public and I don't always know what to say or what to do. But if I'm a volunteer, I have a specific purpose, and it just kind of gives me something to do, and it kind of helps me engage. So that's why I always volunteer. So if there are any other introverts out there, try and volunteer. It really helps a lot. And then I just started 2 weeks ago a job as a Salesforce curriculum developer at Stony Point Inc., which is a Salesforce partner, and they do training and recruiting for other Salesforce partners. And then you can always find me at Twitter or on LinkedIn. So quickly, this is what I'm going to be doing. Data and Docs, that's my website. And I'm going to just take you out there and just, I want to give you a little tour of it before I talk about how I built it and such, just so you can kind of tie it all together. And then I'm going to talk about my why. Why did I do this? And then I'm just going to show you the Trailhead project, talk a little bit about how my thought process was. And then quickly, I just want to touch on your personal brand and why that's so important and how to build that into your website. So if I can do this, hold on, bear with me here. I want to go out and show you. Can everybody see my website?
No, we're still on agenda.
No, Jean, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Oh, you know what? Maybe if I have to.
You're sharing?
All right, hold on. Told you I wasn't good at this.
There you go.
Yes?
Yeah. Good to
Thank
go.
you. Okay, so this is my Salesforce portfolio. Again, when I did the Trailhead project, I did it just in a Trailhead playground. And that's what got me thinking to actually go ahead and build a professional one. Now, I have a background in instructional design, and I've built other websites, so I might have a lot more than what others do. So don't freak out when you're like, oh my God, I have to do all of that. You don't. You really, really don't. But I just wanted to show you mine. So this is my home page, and it just says welcome. Here's my cute little face. I have links on how to get in touch with me. And on my home page, I just wanted to give people a sense of who I am, where I'm coming from, why I did this. And so that's what I did. I have my formalities, you know, where I grew up and all of that. Why a portfolio. And then down below, I had networking for a job and all of the why I did this. And then a couple weeks ago, I finally got a job. So I just stuck an import update up there. I left everything else. I just stuck an important update little note in there and mentioned my job. And then on the other pages, my Salesforce passion, and it took me about a year to figure this out, So, you know, it's kind of like when you go to college, what do you want to be? Well, I don't know. Well, it took me a year to really figure out what I wanted to do within the Salesforce ecosystem. I love data and data management. So, you know, Tom's presentation with Metazoa earlier and Snapshot was just really cool. So I wanted to, you know, share that passion and my knowledge with other people within the industry. So that's why I have a page on data. And I have one on documentation. Again, documenting your org. I'm one of those geeky people that like to do the mundane, monotonous stuff like documenting an org. Why was this created? You know, all that stuff that people don't want to do. Well, I'm the one that likes to do it. And then I have a page on the Learning Center. Like I said, my background is in instructional design. So I've done brief little demos and tutorials, and I wanted to showcase those. You know, if you've gone to career building webinars or anything, they always recommend, especially with Salesforce, build something in Salesforce and then show it. Figure out a way to show it. Well, this is one way to do it. You know, you can build something in Salesforce and then take some screenshots and say, hey, look, this is what I built. Let me walk you through it. So that's what I did on this page. And then my aha moments, I just wanted a place that where I could just put my little light bulb moments. You know, and one of them was building my personal portfolio. These were two things that you had to do in order to get everyone to see everything. So that's just a really, really quick tour of my personal website. And Ms. Sheba just shared hers with me. So this is Sheba's. And you can see she also has the same, it's the same basic format with the links along the top and the search. And then Sheba, do you want to say anything about this?
Oh yeah, thanks for sharing. I just followed your suit. I was so impressed by your portfolio that I said, let me just give it a shot. And yeah, I just did some things myself and also put some of my links, knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing, I put some of my links, which I learned recently. I have not updated yet. There were some more things I could have added. But yeah, I mean, I think yours looked so impressive. That's why I invited you right over, because I felt since I benefited out of it, others could do it too. So.
But did you find the process fairly easy to follow?
Yes, I only was wondering, you know, how to change the favicon or personalize, you know, say the, you know, the meta tags and to make it searchable. Like, do you know about that part?
I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, you know, like a regular website, it's easy to figure out that this is your website if you have a little icon, like I know that beautiful Hawaiian girl icon that you have.
Yeah, she's around somewhere.
I mean, I could see all the tabs and say, oh yeah, here it's Jean's website. So,
right.
So I mean, that's easy to identify very easily. And so I was trying to figure out how to find and do the favicon bit, and then also how to change the meta tag. So when you scroll over, it should show something about the page. So those kind of
yeah, that's more Community Cloud advanced kind of stuff that I haven't gotten into yet.
Right.
So, but when you figure it out, let me know. I'll be glad to, you know.
Sure thing. I'm all about sharing the new knowledge.
Great. All right, so let me see if I can get back to my presentation. I gotta share again. Oh no, where'd you guys go? Share screen, share screen. I'm getting there.
You want to take?
Glad that's done. Okay, so we took a tour. My why. I've been looking for a job in the Salesforce ecosystem. It was actually almost 16 months. And I was doing everything that everybody recommended. Networking on Twitter, on LinkedIn, attending, last year I did a lot of personal events. This year, virtual has just been amazing because you can just do so much more networking than you could if you had to travel places. And so I needed to elevate my career search. I needed to get my voice and my presence out there. And so that's why I built the portfolio. So you saw, I had the data and the document pages, but I also had a page that showed some of the things that I had built, and that's where your demonstration of skills. As I said, they say build something in Salesforce, let people know about it, and if you can, include a short video of what you've taught, what you've learned, and how you built it. So that's my why, and that's one of the things you really need to kind of figure out is why you want to do it. What's your reason for building it other than getting another badge? And mine was to step up my career search, to make my presence more known. It's another way to share my information. And this is the Trailhead project. It's build your personal portfolio in Salesforce. And this is the link. And like I said, we'll go out to this or later. And I'll walk you through the first step of it. The next, plan but be flexible. So when I started this, I had no idea what I wanted to include. So I just sat down, took out some paper and just started writing. And yes, that is my very sloppy handwriting. But I just brainstormed with myself. What did I want? What did I want to share with everybody? I knew I had to share my Salesforce job experiences. And I wanted to talk about documentation and data management because that's the field I want to get into. And I just kind of had to get a plan. Now I put it down on paper and pencil. I'm old school. You can do it on a computer, you can do it on your phone, whatever. But just kind of have an idea of what you want when you get out there. But at the same time, be really flexible because I went through 4 or 5 different layouts and I still tweak it every once in a while. But if you have an idea, you can go in and build that idea and see what it looks like. But then after a while, you'll get something that is organized. I had to reorganize mine several times. You want to, from some of the feedback that I got from others, you want that first page to be about you, your story. It doesn't have to be lengthy, but just tell them, who you are, where you live, and that's what I did, my formalities. This was, this is my background. And also, be yourself. And I'll talk about this on the next slide when I talk a little bit about the brand. But then I put why a portfolio, why this format. And when you go out and look at my website, you can see what I put out there. But then I went into my, my second page was my experience. So again, you plan it out, but then you might plan it out and build it the way you planned it. And you're like, yeah, this is not me. It's not what I want. It's okay. It's okay to do that. Like I said, I changed mine several times. Your personal brand. A lot of people hear about that, but what is it? Sheba did an excellent, she mentioned something just a few minutes ago, and it was absolutely perfect for my personal brand. She mentioned my little Hawaiian emoji, my trail emoji. Hawaii is my happy spot. I love going there. I feel very connected there. And so I created this little emoji a few years ago, and she's just really stuck. And so I consider her part of my brand. If you ask people about me, I'm not, I don't know how to, let me just go to the bullet points. Your personal brand, what do you want to be known for? some people are known for doing flow or writing awesome code. Others are really good about sharing information. I don't know if you know David Giller. He's a good friend of mine, and he is all about personal brand and he has an excellent web page on how he built his personal brand. And so it's, what do you want to share with the community? What do you want to be known for? You know, social media, what's your social media presence? You know, I do more Twitter than I do LinkedIn. Just because to me, Twitter is a little bit, it's lighter, it's short, where to me, LinkedIn is more professional and people post blogs and intelligent articles and, you know, and things like that. So it's all about how you present yourself to the world. And you have to be you, but at the same time, stay professional if that's where you want this website to go. If you want to be a professional website, then stay professional, but be you. You know, when you go out and see mine, I did that with just little bits of humor here and there. You know, I talked about that I have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. My poor mother thought I was going to be a student forever. You know, so it shows just a little bit humor, but at the same time, it's professional. And I love David's quote here, and it says, let's face it, if you don't work on your personal brand, you're essentially invisible. No one knows who you are or what you're capable of or how you can help them. And I think that's really true. And it takes a while to really figure out and connect with your personal brand. At least it did with me. Now, everything I'm saying today is my experience. Other people, you know, might know their brand and have always had it. You know, I'm a career changer. I've only been involved with the Salesforce community for 3 years. So I really had to think about how I wanted to present myself and what I had to offer to the Salesforce community. So that's my little topic on personal brand. Like I said, if you want more information, David has a great web page. And he actually once in a while will run a course on defining your personal brand and building your personal brand. But he does have a web page, and he has like a PDF of like 30 ways to share your brand and get people out there. So any questions up to this point before I go out? Because I do want to, if we have time, Shiba, I do want to go out and just walk through the first step of building a community or building the page.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And I really would say that, would add to it that just, you know, you can easily get lost in the mirage of topics you keep landing yourself into. But to be able to find a niche area like you found data and docs, and then you excelled, I mean, you really mastered that subject. And then you are going next step to even demonstrate it so well in so many different medias. I think you're on a roll right now. So yeah, I think it's really good to, you know, be able to project your passion well, be passionate about a certain thing.
It took a while. It really took a while to get there.
Right, it doesn't matter, you know, as long as, you know, but I feel if you find that passion and you are able to project it well to the world, so people know where and how to help you out, you know. So.
All right, I gotta get this out of my way. Oh, that worked. Okay. So, can everybody see my screen again?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. This is the trailhead. And like I said, I'm just gonna walk through the first one, which is create a portfolio site. And, you know, I'm not gonna read all this to you, but it kind of talks about why, you know, and again, this is what I shared what my why was. You you know, what was my motivation behind creating it? You might have a different one. You know, Sheba might be doing it to promote kind cause and share who she is and what she does. So, but what I want to do is I'm just going to go down here to the bottom. And the first one, what we need to do, now let me go ahead and launch this. No, I can't. Yeah, let's try that one. So the first, while that's launching, the first thing we're going to do is you have to enable communities. Because like I said, all of these pages are built on communities. So the other cool thing about doing this project is it's kind of like a twofer. You're building your personal portfolio, but if you've never worked with communities, now you're learning to work with communities. I was like, that's kind of slick. It's 2 for 1. And then you can go off and do your community cloud certification and share the wealth with everybody. So the first step is we need to enable communities. So I'm going to go up here to setup. And over in quick find, I'm going to do communities. And I'm going to click community settings. And hopefully I have, oh good, I haven't done it in this one. And like I said, you have to enable it. It doesn't automatically out of the box come enabled. So I'm going to click enable communities. And then the next step says I have to enter a unique name that's going to be used as my domain name. And once you enter that domain name, you can't change it. So I'm just going to put Jean's Test 3 because I think I've done it a few other times. And I can check for availability. And it says it's available. So I'm just going to click save. And it's going to say, are you sure you want to enable communities and register your domain? Because once you do, you can't go back. And I'm going to say yes. Oh, seriously? Okay. So that little note that popped up, I get it once in a while, but not all the time. And it said because of my browser settings, my pop-up that it had to open it in a different browser. And when it did, it turned it into Classic. So I just clicked and went back into Lightning. So this is where you'll end up. So communities have been enabled, right? And I did my unique name. So the next step is we're going to create our first community. So we want to click on community and we're going to select the customer account portal template. So we're going to select new community. It's thinking. Okay. And when you start a new community, Salesforce gives you a choice of, looks like 6 templates. Depending upon what the purpose or what the reason for your community, it's going to depend upon which template you choose. Down here, you're going to see they give you some ideas of the best use for each template. The Help Center, there's a customer account portal, customer service. You can build your own, Partner Central, and Aloha. And for this one, it says we're going to select the customer account portal. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And when you select it, it tells you a little bit about it, what it's best used for. And if you scroll down, you can see a couple of the different page layouts. Okay, so I'm going to click Get Started. And the next step, it says enter a community name and URL. Name the community, your first name and last name, and then specify portfolio as the optional URL. Okay, and that's what this is. Now, when they're talking about the optional URL, sometimes you'll see when you're entering a URL into a website, it's like salesforce.com/ I don't know, trailhead or slash certifications. Well, this is the slash part, okay? So I'm just gonna name this Gene's Test 4. And over here, I'm just gonna put portfolio. Now this is optional, but I'm just following along in the steps. So I'm gonna click create. And this is when the magic happens. You sit here going, I don't know what it's gonna look like. I don't know what I'm getting into, but it's creating it. So while it's doing that, let's see what it says next. Click create, yay. It says your community has been created in the preview status, which means that what you have created isn't been published yet, okay? And so here, by magic, is the shell of my community that I just built. And so that's the end of the first step. And I'll just give you a quick tour of what's here. When you start getting into communities, you'll hear two different phrases. You'll hear builder or builder experience and workspace experience. This right now, what we're looking at is my workspace. It's kind of like home base for your communities. The builder, when we click on that, that will take us actually out to our page where we can add all the pictures and we can add, you know, that's where we just build it. We can define all of these. We put all of this in. Moderation, that's when you get into dialogues and communications and people are posting to your website and you want to make sure that they're playing nicely and they're using, you know, polite words and things like that. So this is where a lot of the administration happens. Your content management, your knowledge articles, how are those displayed? Gamifications, if you're into badges. You know, this is really good if you've built a community for your team and you want to, you know, how many badges do you have or who's in first place and all of that. Dashboards, everybody loves dashboards. And you can actually, there's a app exchange package you can download and it will help you monitor the health of your dashboard. Are people engaging with your dashboard? And things like that. Administration, that's your settings and some of your properties. You go in there and you can make, you know, settings for like user profile, and who can see what, and all those fun things. And then if you want, there's also the guided setup. And I did that the first time as well, just to see. I'm the kind of person that likes to, you know, press all the buttons and click all the links and see what's where. But I do just one more thing I wanted to take you out to Builder, because this is actually what your page looks like. So I'm going to click on Builder. And so we haven't done anything yet, except we picked a template. And so this is what our template looks like. And you'll get a pop-up. And I recommend going through these. It's just like a little 14-click guided tour of what you can do with the Experience Builder. Okay, so we haven't done anything, but here's our website. And so if we were going to go ahead and publish it, we can go up and do a preview. And if we were to publish it just the way it is, this is what people would see. Not a whole lot, but you know, here is they call it the navigation menu. And again, that's this up here. You can see the search. And then I removed this off of mine because I don't require people to log in. And then you can just go ahead and edit it over here. The components, these are all the Lightning components that you can click and drag and drop. Now, because my website is almost all text, you know, pretty much every page, it's all text. That's what I really used. I used the, the rich content editor to build mine. When you get into doing, Yeah.
Can you just drag that over and just, I don't know, type hello or something so that people see how easy it is?
Oh. Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Actually, let me, okay, I can do that. All right, so what I did, let me show you again. Thanks for doing that.
Sure.
Asking me. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so what I did, actually, I'm gonna add another page instead.
Is that tile menu work? Because for me, it wasn't displaying.
What menu? This, this?
Not this one. There was another one which was like a tile menu. By default was there, and I did it like, but it wasn't displaying on my page. There are 3 blocks that I added.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then you have to go over here and do the formatting and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't mandatory. It was making my page longer. So I just cut that out because it wasn't even displaying correctly. So
I haven't played with that one yet.
yeah, it was just a repetition of the top menu, and except that you could give a little introduction on each part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, it's kind of an optional thing. So.
Okay, cool. See, this is what is so fun about this. But let me just go back and show the rich content editor. It's just click and drag, and you can see there's a faint little spot. Let me get rid of these. There you go. I'll get rid of that too. Okay, so here's the rich content editor, and when you drag a component in, you'll get a pop-up box over here, and it says click to edit the content. And it's your WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So I'm just going to say hello. Okay, and then since I don't want it that teeny, I'm going to go to my font size. I'll do 26. And let's see if I want color. That's shading. Let's see, let's go purple. And then if I want it in the middle. Okay. So right now I'm just starting to build my website. Let's see, down here, if I want to add a picture. I don't know if I have anything in here or not. Nope. So I can upload something. Not that. Pictures. This is my new work computer, so it might be a minute. Here we go. Oh, cute kittens.
Everyone, please feel free to ask any questions if you have in the while Jean is showing us stuff. If you have any questions or curious about anything, please do chime in.
And with the picture, it came out really big, so I just click on the corner and I can change it. Okay. And it saves it. So if I wanted to say, all right, I'm ready to publish, I want to go out and preview it so I can see what it looks like to everybody else. And that's what it looks like to everybody else. Okay. And then I can go back to Builder and I can add more content if I want. If I want to add a new page, there are some pre-built pages, but if I just want to add a new page, you can either do a standard page, which all of mine are built off a standard. Object pages, those are if you want to connect back into Salesforce to display like an object page, related lists, but I'm just going to do a standard page. And the thing that's nice is you can pick your layout and you can also change your layout later on, but I'm just going to do a flexible layout for now. I'm going to click next and I want to give it a name. So I might do Salesforce Experience.
Jean, there's a question. How do we get the symbol home instead of the words?
How do we do what?
You know, there's a home symbol showing up on your home page. Yeah, so instead of the home word, there's that home symbol. How do you
Picture
get
of a house.
There is, isn't there?
I,
I did it. Okay. So good question.
Good job.
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be a test. If I click in between here, like I said, if you click on an area, you're going to get a pop-up over here. And so when I clicked on this, it pops up the little navigation menu. And right here, it says replace home text.
home with that was quick.
Thank you. I'll be here next week too. I like it.
You're welcome.
So here is my new page. It's Salesforce Experience, which is like this one. But I wanted to show you right now, I just picked one column. But if I click inside that column or that space, if I go down to section style, I can make it wider and more narrow. But here's where I can change it to 2 columns. And what's also nice about this is, well, all right, so this is 4 columns. But I can also determine the size of the columns that I want. Maybe. There we go. That's because I have so many columns. But if I'm in here and I want to go down to a 3 columns, I can just click that and it says, are you sure? And I said, yes. So now I'm down to 3 columns and I can adjust it again. So even though you might pick a 1 column, it can change, you can change it. So I want to go back to a 1 column. And then again with the rich content editor, you just click and drag. And you just start building. So what did I have on mine on my home page? This data and docs, this actually I created out in PowerPoint. So this is an image. And then, but a lot of this text, I wonder if I can do this, just show you. See, I told you I like to press all the buttons and everything. There you go. So you can even play around with this in Word and copy and paste it over. And then as you build your menu, as you build more pages. So my second page now is Salesforce Experience. And if I want to add that to my navigation menu, I don't have a support page, so I'm going to get rid of that. But I want to add a menu item. And it's going to ask me and right here is the new page that I created. And it's a community page. It's not external URL. And I'm going to make it publicly available. And I'm going to say save menu. And there it is. So now this is actually my second page. If I want to go back and work on my home page, I go back up here. And these, all of the pages are listed alphabetically, but home will always be at the top. So now I'm back to my home page. Here's my Salesforce Experience. And if I do a preview, now if I click on Salesforce Experience, it should take me to my next page. There we go. And back home again.
Nice. The navigation is quite intuitive and simple.
Right.
Yeah. And is there a, like, what other things have you used this communities tool for, like apart from building a portfolio, can you do it for other things like?
Actually, yeah. That's fun. Interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. I applied for a admin position, and there was a technical assessment with my admin position. And this was before I knew anything about communities. And part of that admin position technical assessment was to build a community.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was quick. I had a week to do the whole assessment. Once I was done hyperventilating, because there was a lot on there I did not know, including building a community. But thank goodness for Trailhead. I went out to Trailhead and I learned how to do it. So yeah, that's what I have done it for, is for a job interview.
Mm-hmm. So is there a way to create some interactivity in here too? Like, I did create, that contact me link or something,
Yep.
but do you have contact forms too, or maybe something?
Oh yeah, you can put all of
Chat?
that in. You can put that in, you can put in chat.
Mm-hmm. And Jean, on your page, when people email you, it defaults the subject line too, right? You've set that up.
Yes.
Yeah, this is email me, so that would just go to your email.
It would open up my email. Yep. Again, I'm on a new business laptop, so it's not opening it. I have to set it up.
Right. And
but like with my LinkedIn, let's see, my Twitter, it should take
can you
me
have question answer sessions too? Like you ask a question, somebody answers, things like that.
I could.
You could add, so if there's someone who wants to ask a question, and they can type that. So it can be like a knowledge share on your platform as well.
If I put all of that in, I mean, I can even, on here, I can put a spot to have people leave comments.
Right, yeah.
On my pages. I chose not to at this time. My goal was to get something out that I could share this link. So
do you know how that is done, to add comments or to have that question answer? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head, I
That's
don't.
for the next part
Yeah,
2 of this.
Yeah.
I think you can enable.
Let me pass my community certification first here, then we'll play.
Correct.
But yeah, so these links this one took me right out to Twitter, right to my homepage on Twitter. The same with LinkedIn and Trailhead profile. It'll take you right out. And what's nice is you can designate it to open a new page.
In a new page. Right.
Like this will take you out to the Trailhead. So it can be as interactive as you want it to be, you put it that way. I added my friends, I talked about how I got involved with the community. And it was Eric, and I asked Eric, I was like, do you mind if I, share your Twitter, LinkedIn, and he and I met out at Midwest Dreaming. So again, you can make it as interactive as you want. Let's see, under data. This up here, I have this on the top of most of my pages, and it says I'm still working on it.
I like that cap for construction worker, is it?
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to talk about. Remember, we were talking about personal brand? There she is. So now the more people see this, or I even had it on my PowerPoint, when they see that, like Shiva said, she knows that's something that I did. That's part of my personal brand.
How did you put that? That is a Photoshop?
Oh, I did that in PowerPoint. I do a lot of my images and such.
Yeah, okay. Very artsy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my data page and talking about some of the data tools. I have to add Metazoa to this. Sorry, Tom, I don't know if you're still on, but I might have it under documentation. But here are some of the tools that I'm interested in. And documentation. There's Metazoa. Snapshot, okay. And Elements and Speckit. So again,
Now, how do you use the Speckit and Metazoa and Elements? How do you use them?
you can use them for helping to document your org.
Right.
Like with the, I know Speckit has a data dictionary.
Yes, I use Speckit.
And Metazoa Snapshot. It's all, you know, what's in your org.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all part of documenting your org. Elements Cloud is another one. Let's see, what else do I have here? The Learning Center. Here are just some. This is a presentation I did. That looks familiar. For a consulting course I took, and we were talking about sales productivity. But again, it's just a way, because I was going to learning and development before I was going with instructional design. This is just a way to show people things that I have done. You know, this links out to a YouTube tutorial I did, so people can see how I did that. There's another presentation that I did. So that's that.
Great.
That's all I
Great
got.
presentation, Jean. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone else did too.
Well, I hope so.
It's very useful.
I had a lot of fun doing it because I really enjoy doing this. Like I said in the beginning, it doesn't have to be multiple pages. It doesn't have to have a lot of stuff. So what if you have 4, 12, or 1 certification or no certifications? You know, it's just to get your name out there. And then you can put it out on your LinkedIn profile. You can put it out on your Twitter profile. Like I have mine right here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
No?
I didn't do that part.
So when you're, you know, filling out job applications and they say, you know, when they ask for a website, well, here it is. There it is. There's my website. You know, it's just another way of getting you out there. So.
Good stuff. Does anyone have questions for Tom as well? For either of the speakers, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and talk directly. I guess nobody has any questions, right?
Well, there's a question in the chat.
Which one?
How did you remove the user profile menu?
That one took me a while. I had to dig around for it. I don't remember. I can't tell you off the top of my head. If I figure it out, I'll send it to Sheba. And then she can pass it along to you, Michelle. It took me a while to find it. But I did, yeah. That's when I was poking around and, like I said, clicking all the links and just finding out where things were. But I wanted to get rid of it. So, yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to figure that one out.
Any other question?
Thanks for all the compliments, you guys. That's really sweet. Like I said, I had a lot of fun doing it. You know, and if you want help brainstorming on what you want put on it, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to, you know, just throw some questions out at you, you know, try and help you get going. Because sometimes I know if you've never done that before, you don't really know where to begin.
Jean, can you post that link, the Trailhead link that you had in the chat? So if anybody's interested, they can take some guidance from there. At least it can be a good starting point. Yeah, so Jean has posted the link. If the trailhead is very self-explanatory. It really does handhold you through those initial steps. And then after that, your creativity can take over.
Right. And, you know, like I said, I did the trailhead first, and I did it just in a trailhead playground. But when I went to do my own, I did it in a developer org because, you know, they'll retire, or after you've had a trailhead playground for so long, you don't have access to it anymore. So that's why I recommend doing it in your own developer org. So you'll always have access to it. And I put the link to my page in there as well.
Right.
So again, if you have questions or, you know, need a little boost to figure out what you want, hunt me down, I'm around. Even knows where to find me.
Jean, you can also add your Twitter handle here. So, you know, people know where to get hold of you in case they're stuck. Can we have everybody's videos on and I have a good picture before we leave? Thanks. What do we do? A victory sign, maybe? One sign? Ready, set, everybody, victory sign.
I do the Hawaiian.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thanks,
So
thanks for the
everybody.
invitation.
Thanks, everyone.
Will there be a video recording for this? Sorry.
Yes, we do have a video recording. I posted the YouTube channel. You can access all our past meetings also. You can access most of our recordings there.
Oh, okay. And is it just going to be San Ramon? If I just Google search San Ramon YouTube.
Yeah, I posted a link here, but otherwise if you search for San Ramon SFDC, and you'll get it. You'll get there. But I did post the link. I can post again.
How often are your sessions, and do you have one scheduled?
Yes, we have every month. We try to do every month. And so far, virtually, we've done each month. And it's nice, actually, to just be in touch with everyone, see everyone, you know. The screens keep on moving. So,
Well,
yeah, so it's a way to actually just stay in touch with all the products in this area, and you know, all the new developments. So what about you, Nancy? Are you do you have a local group there, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Women in Tech, I participate in that one, and then also the local admin group. Yeah.
Okay, nice to know.
But, yeah, I've been like everyone else. That is the one benefit of, if there's any benefit of the pandemic, is that all of this virtual networking and getting together has been amazing.
Yes, it has been more like it's now doesn't have borders. It's borderless networking. But yeah, it's all on Zoom. Everything is on this screen, right? No in person. It used to be more exciting.
So when you say like 2 times Ranger, like you actually got to the level of Ranger 2 times. Is that what they mean? When
yeah, so I'm at around 250 now. So
wow.
I want to go, yeah, and you know, as you progress further in your timeline, it keeps on increasing, especially if you're going for more certs, and you know, then just for that preparation, you add up a lot of badges.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely watch the video. I missed much of it, so.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
you will certainly be able to catch up with most of the content through the video.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.